Hello students, this is Neha Chauhan taking biology lecture for class 9. So students, we are not going to study anything new today because we have completed almost half of the chapter. So today we are going to uh, revise whatever we have studied till now. So we start from the beginning. So the chapter name, the fundamental unit of life. What does it mean? I told you that in biology we are concerned only about the living organisms. So fundamental unit of life. Life here means living organisms. So the name of the chapter itself raises the first question in the chapter. What is that fundamental unit of life? What is the fundamental unit of life? So by now it is clear and we know that it is cell. There's something called cell. So cell is the fundamental unit of life. What does that mean? So cell, it is something which is present in all the living organisms. Okay, or you can say that all the living organisms are made up of cells. So is it clear? So this thing we proved it with the help of one activity. You remember we had taken one onion. From that we scraped out the epidermis and observed it under the microscope and concluded that the living all the living things, like in that activity, the onion is made up of separate units, or you can say onion is made up of cells, many cells. Okay, so in that activity, one point also I added. If we take small onion or big onion, that if we make slide of both of them, then we'll observe that both the slides have same size of cell. So big organism or big living thing doesn't mean it has big cells. Rather, it means that it has more numbers of cells. Like a small onion, you can say that it has 10,000 cells. Just for example, because suppose the small onion has 10,000 cells, that the big one will have 20 maybe. So just for the example, just for understanding. So here the point is, the big organism doesn't mean that they have bigger cells, but it means that bigger organism or the big onion has more number of cells. So 2 points we concluded from that activity. Okay, so from that activity we proved it to ourselves that all the living organisms are made up of cell. Another experiment we can do with that is that of a cheek cell. If we scrape the inner surface of the cheek and put it on a slide, and with proper stain and water, if we observe it under the microscope, what you will see is, you will see separate cells, cheek cells you will see. So if you make slide from any living organism, you will find the same thing, that all the living organisms are made up of separate units. And who was the first one to observe that living things are made up of separate units? It was actually Robert Hooke. Remember Robert Hooke in 1665, what he did was, actually there were no microscope at that time, I told you. So he designed his own microscope and he observed cork. I told you cork is something we make from a bark of a tree. So he observed cork under his own self-designed microscope, and he observed that this cork is made up of separate units. He found hexagonal units were repeating themselves, and he compared that structure to the beehive or the honeycombs like structure. So he said that all the living organisms are made up of cell, and he called these compartments as cells. Okay, so till now we have revised the first thing. What is that fundamental unit of life? We proved it, and who was the first one to find it? Okay, discovery. Okay, so Robert Hooke discovered that. And in the discovery of cell, another thing we discussed was Robert Brown, another scientist. He discovered nucleus, about which we studied in the last class. Nucleus, Robert Brown. Okay, Robert Brown discovered nucleus. You need to remember this. And Robert Hooke in 1665, remember the year, discovered cell. The cell which Robert Hooke observed were actually dead cell. Okay, remember this point, they were actually dead cell, they were not living cells. Okay, so it was actually only the cell wall. Okay, because all the internal matter had dried up, only the cell wall remained. I told you cell wall is non-living. Okay, cell, and it is a very rigid substance made up of cellulose. Okay, so what Robert Hooke observed were only dead cells, only the cell wall. Okay, and Robert Hooke named them cell. So is it clear about the discovery? Okay, so this was about the discovery. We proved it also. Then we discussed that all the living organisms on this earth can be divided into two types. Okay, one is unicellular. Uni means they are made up of only, uni means one. So organism made up of only single cell are known as unicellular organisms, and the organism made up of many cells are known as multi. Multi means many, so simple है. Uni, so जो organism एक cell से बनी है, for example bacteria, they are only one cell, they have only one cell in their body, they are made up of only one cell. Bacteria है, amoeba है, paramecium है, they come under the unicellular organism. Another thing is multicellular organism, they are made up of many cells. Okay, for example is, you can take any example, plants, animals, all are multicellular organism. So after that we discussed one term, one phrase actually, the division of labor. Many students had doubt in this, but this phrase is this is not a scientific term, this is just a phrase. Division of labor means like अपने work को divide करना. Labor means काम को, work को divide करना. Like for example, just for your understanding, I am giving you one example. Suppose you are 5 students, एक group है 5 बच्चों का, and I have given you one project to make a solar system. I have given you one project that is to make a solar system. So you are going to divide your work amongst yourself. So 5 of you together have to make one solar system. So you will divide your work. One of you will be bringing balls, one of you will be bringing strings, one of you will be bringing thermocol, one of you will be bringing maybe the decorative substances, decorative things, and one of you may be assembling the material. So you have divided the work amongst yourself just to do it quickly or more efficiently. So same thing happens in multicellular organism. We are multicellular organism, we have many cells. So what our cells have done is they have divided the work amongst themselves. Okay, so many cells. So this particular group of cell has said कि मैं तो सिर्फ digestion करूँगा. So this particular group of cell is doing the work of digestion. This particular group of cell is doing respiration. This particular group of cell is doing circulation. Okay, so we have a lot of work to do. We have to breathe, we have to circulate, we have to digest. So many things we have to do, and we have so many cells. So simple hai. So we have divided the work amongst the cells. So this is the thing which happens in the multicellular organism. So if you take the example of unicellular, you see that there is only one cell which is performing all the activities. So you will say that in multicellular organism there is division of labor. Simple hai. Why? Because there are many cells and lots of work, so they have divided the work amongst themselves. Or unicellular, एक ही cell है, simple है, so they can't divide. So you will say that in unicellular organism there is no division of labor, while in multicellular organism there is division of labor. Clear hai? So after that we discussed that, okay, if you look inside the cell, what you will see is inside the cell also little compartments or organelles. About organelles we are going to study in the next lecture. So you'll see that there are many little compartments or little organelles are there. They are performing different function. So if you see inside a cell also there are little compartments which have divided the work amongst themselves. Okay, like till now we have studied about the nucleus. Okay, nucleus, what nucleus is doing, it has a genetic material, its function is to control and regulate all the activities and structure of the cell. Fine, so that is the function of nucleus. What does plasma membrane do? Plasma membrane, it regulates the internal environment of the cell. I told you it is a selectively permeable membrane. It permits only selected materials to go in or out of the cell. So different part of the cells are performing different functions. So inside a cell also, if you go, you will say that different parts of cell are performing different functions. So this is just a way of saying. So inside a cell you say that different organelles are performing different functions. So inside a cell there is a division of labor. There is division of labor. Okay, so these are two ways of saying the same thing. But you should understand the meaning of the this term division of labor. Like अपने labor को या फिर work को divide करना. Okay, so I repeat, multicellular organism में there is division of labor. Unicellular में there is no division of labor. If you look inside a cell, there is division of labor amongst the different organelles of the cell. So this was about the division of labor. So till now we have completed the introduction part. I told you that I divided the chapter into 3 parts. First was introduction. Okay, in introduction we have studied that first was introduction, second was structure of cell, third is division. Okay, in still now we have revised the introduction part. In that we have revised what is the fundamental unit of life. we have revised how we proved it. Then the scientists involved. Yes, one more thing. The cell theory. We forgot to discuss about the cell theory. The cell theory was given by Schleiden and Schwann. You should remember the correct pronunciation and also the spelling. Okay, Schleiden and Schwann. These were two scientists. Okay, Schleiden used to study about plants and Schwann used to study about animals. So Schleiden said that all the plants are made up of cells, and Schwann said that all the animals are made up of cells. So these are the two things. So both these points were joined to make the first point of the cell theory. So the first point of cell theory was all the plants and animals are made up of cells. Simple. And the second point was cell is the basic unit of life. So both these first and second point, both of them mean the same thing, and you know this. So these two are the main points of the cell theory. Simple. And the cell theory was extended by another scientist known as Rudolf Virchow. Rudolf Virchow was a German scientist. What he did, what he said was, he said in Latin language. Latin is a language I told you. He said in Latin, omnis cellula e cellula. What does that mean? It means that omnis cellula e cellula. It means that the न्यू सेल्स अराइज फ्रॉम प्री एग्जिस्टिंग सेल्स, यानी कि जो पहले से सेल्स होते हैं उनसे नए सेल्स बनते हैं. दैट मीन्स द सेल्स डिवाइड. So this is the one point added by the Rudolf Virchow. And about the cell division, I told you we are going to study at the last of this chapter. Okay. So this is about the cell. This is about the cell theory. So if the question comes, who gave the cell theory and what is cell theory, you can easily mention the name of 3 scientists involved in this, and you can easily mention all the points of the cell theory. So you by now you know about the scientists involved in the discovery of the cell. Okay, so up till now we have discussed the introduction part, and we also studied the structure of the microscope, light microscope. That is also simple. You have to learn the diagram of the microscope. You should know about the various parts of the microscope. That's it. So this completes the introduction part. Then we started with the second subtopic, that is the structure of cell. In that we started with the plasma membrane. In plasma membrane, I told you that, so suppose this is the cell. So outermost covering of the cell is known as plasma membrane. So what plasma membrane do is, plasma membrane actually what it does is, it kind of maintains the internal environment of the cells. It is selectively permeable. Selectively permeable मतलब selected material को ही अंदर आने देता है या बाहर जाने देता है. So it allows only selected material to go in or out of the cell. So that's how it maintains a constant internal environment of the cell, which is very important for the all the kind of metabolic reactions to happen inside the cell. Clear? So that was about plasma membrane. In that we discussed that plasma membrane is selectively permeable and it allows only selected material to go in or out. After that we said that small molecules, okay, so substances which have to go in and out can be of 2 types. There can be small molecules which can easily diffuse inside the plasma membrane. Another can be big molecules. They need special transport mechanism, about which you are going to study in higher classes. So in 9th class we are only concerned about how small molecules like gases, carbon dioxide or oxygen and water, they goes inside the plasma membrane or outside the plasma membrane. So for that we discussed our topic, osmosis and diffusion. For gases we used the term diffusion. Okay, so diffusion I told you, diffusion, suppose I spray a perfume here, ठीक है, तो यहाँ पे एक perfume spray करते हैं तो you can smell it from other corner of the room. Why? Because the molecules of the perfume they have spread from their high concentration. जहाँ पे spray किया है वहाँ पे high concentration होगा. They have spread from here to other corner where their concentration is none. Okay, so they have spread. So always remember that in diffusion substances move from their high concentration to low concentration. This is diffusion. Same is osmosis. For gases we are using the term diffusion, but for water we use a special term called as osmosis. So osmosis, you can say it is a type of diffusion only, or you can say that it is special case of diffusion. Okay, so about diffusion, diffusion and osmosis both are same thing. In both of them the substances move from their high concentration to low concentration. So you do not have to get confused. So many of the students were getting confused with the topic osmosis. So we are going to again we are going to discuss about the process of osmosis. So osmosis, again here also it is a special case where water moves from its high concentration to low concentration. So here also it is the same thing, nothing to get confused. Water is moving from its high concentration to low concentration. Okay, suppose we are going to take one example. Suppose I've taken two glasses, one is A, another one is X. Okay, two glasses are there. Okay, so in A you can see water level is low, while in X the water level is high. So suppose there is semi-permeable membrane in between them. So can you tell me, by the process of osmosis, where is the water going to move? Simple है, I told you that water will move from its high concentration to low. Which मतलब दोनों में से किस में ज़्यादा water है? X. So if there is semi-permeable membrane in them, water between them, then what will happen? Water will move from X to A. Up till when? Up till when? कब तक होगा ये? जब तक होगा जब तक A और X का water level equal ना हो जाए. So water is going to move from X to A. So it is simple thing, nothing to get confused. Water will move from its high concentration to low concentration. So water will, X में ज़्यादा है, A में कम है. So water will move from X to A. तो जब तक move करेगा जब तक equal नहीं हो जाएगा. So suppose the water has moved, जब तक equal हो जाएगा तो now the net, now we will say that the net movement will be zero. What do we mean by net movement? That means अभी भी semi permeable membrane है. Now also water is moving in both the direction, but the amount of water moving from X to A is equal to the amount of water moving from A to X. तो अभी भी now also water is moving in both the direction, but we'll use the term net. So net movement of water will be zero. दोनों में equal होगा, कोई movement नहीं होगा. अब तो okay, it's because concentration in both the side. Okay, it is very simple. Wherever the concentration is high of water, it will move from that to here. Okay, actually it is moving in both the direction, but actually what happens is the amount of water, earlier the water level in X was high, so in this case also water was moving in both the direction. So pay attention, water is moving in both the direction, but the amount of water molecules moving from X to A are high in number. So you will say that net movement is from X to A. Okay, and another example, when the water level is equal, here also water will move in both the direction, but net movement will be zero. So you understand, you do not have to get confused, you just have to pay attention where is the concentration of water molecules high. So again, now we take example of solution. Suppose we have X glass X. So we are going to add 1 teaspoon of salt in it. I have added 1 teaspoon of salt. So now this has become a solution. What is a solution? Solution has two things. It has a solvent, which is water, and a solute, which is salt. Solution, now it has become a solution. Solution has two things: salt, which is solute, and solvent, which is water. Okay, now this is a solution. Always remember that whenever we add solute to our water, whenever we add solute or salt to the water, then what happens is few water molecules get engaged with the salt molecules. जैसे कोई भी suppose कॉलोनी में कोई या नया मेंबर आता है तो सब लोग उनसे बात करने लगते हैं. Likewise, salt यहाँ पे ऐड किया है, so few water molecules get attached, or you can say get engaged with the water molecules, with the salt molecules. So the amount of free water molecules decreases. ठीक है, क्योंकि कुछ तो सॉल्ट के साथ अटैच हो गए, एंगेज हो गए, तो क्या हुआ, तो फ्री वाटर मॉलिक्यूल्स, अमाउंट ऑफ फ्री वाटर मॉलिक्यूल्स हैव रिड्यूस्ड इन दिस. ओके, नाउ इफ वी कंपेयर दीज टू, वाटर लेवल तो दोनों में सेम है. ठीक है, पहले वाले सेकेंड एग्जाम्पल जो हमने लिया था उसमें हमने बोला था कि वाटर दोनों साइड, मतलब नेट वाटर मूवमेंट विल बी जीरो बिकॉज वाटर लेवल इन बोथ द ग्लासेस इज सेम. But in X now I have added 1 teaspoon of salt. So what has happened? So few water molecules are engaged with the salt. So amount of free water molecules is less here. ठीक है, जो फ्री हैं वो कम है क्योंकि कुछ वाटर मोलिक्यूल्स सॉल्ट के साथ अटैच हो गए. Now again repeat the concept of osmosis. Her water concentration, free by water concentration I told you we mean that amount of free water molecules. So amount of free water molecules is more here, less here, because we have added salt and few water molecules are engaged with the salt. So simple, water will move from A to X. Clear? Okay, now we take another example, another setup. So now I am going to add 1 teaspoon to both the glasses. In A I have added 1 teaspoon of salt, and in X again I have added 1 more teaspoon of salt. So dissolved it. So again we have this example, A glass and X glass. In A there is 1 teaspoon of salt, in X there are 2 teaspoon of salt. So, and suppose there is in all the setups we supposed that we had a selectively permeable membrane in between them. So again between them the selectively permeable membrane is there. Now water will move in which direction? Before that we are going to discuss both of them are solution. Both are solution. This is also a solution. It has both solute and solvent. It also has both solute and solvent. Which one is more concentrated? It has 2 teaspoon of salt. It has 1 teaspoon of salt. Which one is more concentrated? Obviously this one. The solution which has more amount of solute, more amount of salt is more concentrated, and this one is actually dilute. And we used term hypo and hypertonic solution. So this is hypertonic. Hypertonic as compared to this one A, and this is hypotonic. For dilute you use the term hypotonic, while for the concentrated you use the term hypertonic. And now you can go back to whatever I told you, that if we add here, I have added more solute, more salt, more water molecules are engaged with the salt. So that means less free water molecules. Here less salt, only 1 teaspoon, so less water molecules are engaged, so more free water molecules. So here again free water molecules are more in number. Here it is less. So water will move from A to X, or you can say from dilute to concentrated, or you can say from hypo to hypertonic solution. So is it clear? You just have to remember one thing. It is all the same in diffusion also and osmosis also. Substances are moving from their high concentration to the low concentration. But the confusion कब हुआ? जब solution की चीजें आई. Solution में एक चीज याद रखना, it is opposite. More concentrated the solution is, less is the amount of free molecules of water. Okay, so water is always moving from its high concentration to low concentration. पर जब solution आ जाता है, ठीक है, सॉल्यूशन में हम क्या देखते हैं? सॉल्यूशन वाटर मूव फ्रॉम हाइपोटोनिक सॉल्यूशन टू हाइपरटोनिक. व्हाई? बिकॉज हाइपो मतलब मोर फ्री वाटर मॉलिक्यूल्स, हाइपर मीन्स मोर सोल्यूट, मोर एंगेज वाटर मॉलिक्यूल्स, लेस फ्री वाटर मॉलिक्यूल्स. सो इट इज, you can say, in kind of inversely proportional. So do not get confused in both the cases, on osmosis and diffusion. In both the cases substances move from the high concentration to low concentration. Now you have understood the concept of solution. Now you are not going to confuse. Summary, you just have to remember water will move from hypotonic solution to hypertonic solution. Another thing, water will move from its high concentration to low concentration. So I hope it is clear. There should be no confusion regarding this. Then what we did was actually this concept is not there in your book, but this is very important for your basic understanding. In book there is only 3 cases are given. If cell is put in, if we put a cell in hypotonic solution, in isotonic or hypertonic solution, then what will happen? Only this is given. But this concept, explaining this was necessary. So in book what is given is, if we keep a cell in hypotonic solution, okay, suppose this is a cell, we have kept it in a hypotonic solution. So I told you this is a relative term, this is hypotonic, the solution outside is hypotonic with respect to whatever is inside the cell, so that means cell is hyper. Okay, the cell is hyper and outside solution is hypo. And I told you in osmosis water moves from hypo to hyper. So water will move inside the cell and cell will swell. Okay, clear? You just have to remember one thing, water is going to move from hypo to hyper. So if we keep a cell in hypotonic solution, water will move inside a cell. Cell is going to swell, and if there is excessive swelling, cell may burst. And I told you in plant cell there is a rigid wall, cell wall present outside the plasma membrane. So because of that, the plant cell does not get burst. Okay, and if you keep a cell in isotonic solution, what will happen? Iso means same hai. Concentration inside the cell and outside the cell are same. So water will move in both the direction. And earlier also water was moving in both the direction, but whenever we say water moves in this particular direction, we are actually saying that net, we are actually pointing towards a net movement of water. So second case, we took cell in a isotonic solution. So in isotonic solution, concentration inside the cell and outside the cell both are same, so net water movement will be 0. Okay, and the third case we took was if we keep a cell in hypertonic solution. So water will outside solution is hyper, that means inside the cell it is hypo. Okay, so the water will move from hypo to hyper, means inside of the cell to outside, so cell is going to shrink. And I told you in plant cell the cell wall remains at its own place, while all the other materials of the cell including the plasma membrane, nucleus and the cytoplasm, all other they retract themselves. ठीक है, cell wall वहीं रहता है, बाकी सब retract कर जाते हैं, so it looks something different. I showed you in last class. So that was about the osmosis and diffusion. So I hope you will not get confused after this. So this was about the revision, and from tomorrow we are going to study about the cell organelles, and no homework for today, and after the cell organelles we are going to revise once again. So this was the first revision part 1. So after that, after the cell organelles, we are going to do revision part 2. So I hope it is clear. Thank you. Have a good day.